Starting. And we're all at. All right.
Are you sure this time?
Let's kick this off. Yes. My computer's a little slow, but so this is welcome to day 30 of my 100 days making Has comics. And I'm joined by my friends Eric Faries on the far left, as I see him.
Hi.
And
impression.
where can people find you? It's been a while since you've been on my channel.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, you can find me pretty much by looking up my name. On YouTube, it's Eric Faries. On Tumblr and on Facebook, it's just Art of Eric Faries. Pretty easy to find.
Cool. And Marshall Lee, who I just saw you yesterday, man. Why are you following me everywhere?
I know, right? I don't know. Just hanging out on the internet, having fun.
That's right. And we're making comics.
Yeah. Yeah, doggy.
We're making stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
Eric's not making comics. He's making music.
Music for comics. Let's just tell him that.
Yeah, that works.
Sorry, that's what he's going
with. So yeah, I was going to do something else, but I told Marshall earlier. I want to finally get my morning show going. I guess I'll start it up tomorrow. Because I do want to do it earlier than it is now. Morning show is going to be a half-hour, just sort of touch base kind of thing. I'm looking for my triangle. I don't know where my triangle went. Yeah, just like hopefully like a sort of inspirational kind of art check-in kind of thing. And yeah, it will develop over time, and I have a lot of ideas for it, and I might have guests here and there. But mostly, I'm sort of wavering on exactly, if I should do it 6 a.m. or maybe I should do it 9 a.m. But maybe what I'll do is, because I kind of had this thought earlier. I'll do it like 7 a.m. Not everybody gets up at 7 a.m. At least 7 a.m. Eastern time is different time for different people. But I was thinking, well, whoever makes the live show is definitely like a hardcore art maker, comic maker. So, yeah, it's, I grew up on watching news on TV in the morning because it was more. It kept you in touch with what's going on, but it wasn't like hardcore. 35 people brutally murdered. It was more like soft news that most people can take. So it'll be like a kind of a touching base on maybe some comic news or some art news happenings. I'll be, during it, I'll be working on pieces. Depending, it's like I'm not going to finish anything in a half hour. I'm not going to rush out a piece, although I might choose to do that once or twice, like do a convention style sketch. Here's a quick sketch of Iron Man, but I want to do really much nicer pieces. Inktober, which I'm currently doing and behind on, is great for forcing me to do more consistent art, and that's sort of a part of the reason also of me doing sort of the morning show thing is like I want to work on my comics and I want to, you know, also like do finished pieces that as an artist I can eventually post up in my store and have for sale. So that's part of the reason. And you know, the D100s is a very specific sort of audience. You know, comic making people more than anything else, and it's like it's almost even like the ones who speak up and comment in the videos are more the people that are currently doing the D100s.
Yeah.
I find, which is great, and you know the support is highly welcome. But I want to see if I can maybe sort of grab a different sort of audience by doing like a quick half-hour show that's like, you know, touches on some news, touches on just maybe some easy art lessons of the sort, or you know, things along those lines.
Right. Well, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's interesting to me is I think that I've talked about this so many times. I don't really hear much feedback about it generally, which is surprising. But us people who make our comics and art and whatnot, and then we also have like these YouTube channels and this and that. A lot of times we make the kind of videos that attract more artists, and not so much that attract readers. And you know, I think that you're smart to think about like kind of going on a few different like topics and stuff. I think that's kind of that's something I'm trying to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with attracting artists. That's a big part of everything. Like, of course, I want to be involved in the community, and I enjoy the community, and I'll never stop doing that kind of thing. But you know, there's a lot of readers out there who aren't necessarily artists, and I almost wonder if they feel like a little too shy to kind of enter in and be involved with some of our stuff because we're so artist centric, you know.
Yeah. It's funny when one of the things I did was look at my stats, and I haven't really looked at them too closely, but my YouTube stats. If you look at sort of the lifetime of my channel, it's actually more women viewers.
Interesting.
I have no idea why.
It's because you're a sexy dude.
I'm single. That's true. But you know, if I look at my stats for like the last month, it's mostly men. Like almost like 95% men. So at some point, I had a huge women following. I think I lost them.
Uh-oh.
So maybe I'll
you probably had them. You probably had them when you were not single, because you know people get attracted to people who are actually not single more than they do when you're available. Apparently, that's when they're not around. Sometimes that's what I've heard, at least.
Yeah. That might be a strong possibility. I'm still really good friends with my ex, so that says something, women. But yeah, I thought that was like, kind of curious.
Yeah. Don't worry, there's an app for that. There's a few apps for that.
catch me on Tinder, ladies. Yeah, it's like right now I'm too busy to be dating.
Mm.
So what you working on, Eric?
Right now I'm just kind of going through some old files, just seeing what rough stuff I actually have and making corrections because I changed some of the plugins that I've used, so now some of my stuff just doesn't fucking work. Yay.
That's so annoying. Like audio can be really frustrating. Every time like I try to do some recording and stuff on my computer, I end up like messing up my whole setup for Hangouts, and then I have to go and reconfigure all that stuff again. And
yeah, because now I have to like try to remember. Okay, what was what? Why is this here? What is this for?
Yeah.
I think these are.
I had similar issues. Like you make it audio specific to something you're using, and then everything else gets screwed up.
Pretty much. Because like all my tom hits now are screwed up because I'm using a different plugin to do rough drums. So yay.
So your band doesn't have a drummer, or?
Oh, we have a drummer. It's just this is how I write rough drum tracks and stuff.
Gotcha. And what do you like? Tell us a little bit about your band. Is it how long have you been doing it? Do you have some albums or anything? Or
we have kind of like a first demo album up. This current incarnation of the band is relatively recent because we released the demo actually coming up on a year, like almost a whole year ago, because we released it last year on Halloween. We're basically kind of we're definitely metal, but it's kind of a specific genre of metal, kind of like sludge or doom metal kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. If you've ever listened to bands like Red Fang, and like Mastodon and stuff like that, so kind of that vein of music where it's definitely got a bit of a darker sound at times. I don't have my voice meter or anything, so I can't like play any of my audio because every time I install voice meter, my audio drivers go all kind of screwy. I have VST host, which is how I'm allowing you to like hear me clearly with a compressor and all going, but I don't think it'll allow me to broadcast my audio, like my desktop audio. Yeah, I can't do that. But
do you have is your demo like up anywhere where we could listen to it? Is it on?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, you can technically find it everywhere because I use a distribution site called DistroKid, which will take your music for $20 a year. They'll take your music and literally just post it everywhere, every music streaming platform. So it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on YouTube's music thing, Google Play, all that shit. Mm-hmm. But then I also have it up on a website called Bandcamp, which is a site I really like.
Yeah, it's a good site.
But yeah, you can look us up. Our name is Black Bog. It's actually kind of an older name that I rehashed the name from an old song name that the first incarnation of the band kind of wrote many, many years ago. Okay. But yeah, you can look us up on if you look at Bandcamp or anything like that. If you look up Black Bog and then look up like or even on Spotify, if you have like Spotify or iTunes, just look up Black Bog and then look for the album called The Swamplands. Mm-hmm. It should show up. I should be the only band with those names.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely get into that.
I listened to it when you posted it, when you first put it up. It's good stuff.
All right, tell us honestly, do they suck?
They do not suck.
I think it sucks just because I'm the one who had to mix it, and I'm sitting there listening back to it going, oh God, this sounds like garbage. But that's the inner artist in me who hates everything I do. So
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
No, it's good stuff. It's I'm not a huge metal guy, but
yeah,
it's
like
not too hardcore metal.
yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, and it's got a bit of a variance to the sound. Like there's like the first song is a little more like hard rocky bluesy kind of metal, and then oh god, I'm literally having to like remember because I'm like, oh god, what were some of the songs in the order? Like how did I organize?
Yeah.
Let me go to here since I'm screen sharing anyway. This is our Bandcamp.
There you go.
These are like EP stuff, and then this was like a single I'd released a while ago. But if I go to Swamplands, yeah, okay, so like the first song is definitely more like bluesy hard rock kind of metal. Second song has like a weird prog metal type sound. God, I forgot some of these songs are on here. Like this one was kind of a weird one for me. So yeah, it has a lot of variance. Hell, Through the Swamplands itself has more of a power metal kind of drive to it.
Well, I noticed that with a lot of albums, anyways, like the thing, it's kind of weird. Like metal, especially, is a big one for this. So a lot of these different kinds of music, they make up all these like different crazy, uh, what do you call them? Like subgenres and stuff. And it's like, it's just rock. And if you want to experiment one way, go ahead and do that. And I've heard many albums where you hear things that would be maybe not considered the specific kind of rock that band is, and they do all kinds of things. So.
Well, like when you subgenre things, like it's mainly trying to classify things by like how it sounds, and like I know some people don't like classifications and stuff like that, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
Because let's say I'm trying to listen to some music and I'm like, oh, I like this band. I'd like to hear more bands that sound like very, very similar to this specific band. And if they have a very, like, if I'm listening to Iron Maiden and I want more bands that sound like Iron Maiden specifically, then like if someone keeps throwing out bands like, well, here, listen to Black Sabbath or listen to like Mastodon or something, I'm like, I mean, yeah, these bands are awesome, but they don't sound like Iron Maiden.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they're not similar. Like their styling isn't similar. Like Iron Maiden is kind of the birth of what we consider power metal, so it's more theatrical. So it's like, oh, okay, go towards bands like Master Plan and Halloween and a lot of those kind of bands, Visigoth, Hammerfall. Bands like these are what I consider power metal. And so if you go, okay, let me look for power metal bands, well, now it's easier to find them. Like, okay, I can look at these guys. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird necessity that we have the subgenres, but they do serve a good purpose.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah, because all these like platforms like Spotify, Pandora, they play lists of stuff and they categorize everything. So it's, if you like something and want something similar, they'll sort of drop songs into it randomly.
Yeah, like it's just, yeah, like I said, it's kind of a necessary evil, even though it has become a bit crazy sometimes because we have some weird subgenres of stuff. like if you ever look at stuff like that, like actually let's see if I can find a thing of like metal subgenres because God, it's so overblown. Oh yeah, look, here's a Wikipedia of like some of the heavy metal subgenres, and you can just see all these weird names like black metal, and then derivatives of black metal. You have National Socialist black metal, red and anarchist black metal, Viking metal, war metal. It's just like, oh, here we go. Christian metal, derivatives of Christian metal, unblack metal. Like what?
It's white metal.
Oh God! Like, oh, these are so weird. Okay, yeah, doom metal is where my band falls under, and that's why I put myself under kind of like sludge metal. But then we also have very power metal songs, and then we have some just kind of classic heavy metal type songs, and it's like, it's really hard to like. Again, it's a necessary evil, but man, is it confusing.
Right.
Like, you go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in many ways, computers and internet are an awesome thing, but I think it just makes more work for people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, that's the problem of the people themselves, because we're the ones who kind of need, like, as much as we complain about it, we do use it, and we do kind of need it sometimes. So it's like,
Yep.
I mean, let's face it, comic books are no different.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to read a comic book, there are so many, like, if you actually were to break down subgenres, there's so many genres that you could actually throw out there, because you might be looking for a specific type of story. Which is why sometimes you get series where it's like, oh, I'm looking for a superhero comic, but I want it to be like a superhero horror comic. And it's like, okay, well, here's some of those. It's like, all right, I want this one to be like superhero, but kind of slice of lifey. Well, okay, here's this. Monster of the Week over here. Like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It allows you to kind of, which I understand what people come from, because a lot of people think that because we have too many subgenres of things, it narrows your vision, and you kind of get stuck in, like, I only listen to this, or I only read this, and that kind of thing. But, you know, as long as you're willing to be open-minded, like, you can branch off anywhere you want. It's just you have to be an open-minded person to want to branch out into other things.
Right.
I think it just allows you to, like, put your work into a bunch of different categories.
Yeah, because in the end, you're allowed to tag yourself whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. It's like, my comic is vampires and demons, but it's also a love story. It's also comedy at times. And,
you know how many times I'm like looking up anime and I look at the genre lists and I'm just like, what the hell? There's like 5 different tags here.
Yeah.
It's like romance, action, slice of life, school, drama. I'm like, what?
And then everything's sci-fi, and then
sci-fi, fantasy, and like, it gets crazy, but at the same time, I kind of love the chaos of it. It's kind of fun, because then it becomes a bit of a game of like, name these genres or something. Like let's see if I can figure it out. Let's see if I can throw some things together. And then sometimes you have some writers who will sneak ones in and see if you notice. And you're like, oh, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like me I'm just doing my normal comic every day. But you know, if I post something that I used ink on, I'm using the Inktober tag.
Yeah, I see a lot of people doing that. It's like, I'm working on my comic page, but I inked it, so it's Inktober.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you do have people who kind of abuse that kind of stuff. I mean,
even in Jake's rules, though, he says you don't have to like participate every day and stuff and blah blah blah. So I'm like, yep,
yeah,
liberties here.
Yeah, and that is a thing. Like, depending on who kind of created it, will change the flexibility of it. And then also sometimes you're just like, hey, I'm in the mood for my own kind of version of this, you know? Yeah. Like, I mean, let's take things like the 100 Days system that we use. Like, that didn't start out as a comic thing. It was part of something else. And then some of the comic people like Kevin Cross and I were like, I like that concept. Let me use it for comics. So 100 Days of Making Comics. But then you have people who are like, well, I like that concept, but I'm not doing a comic. Like, my second 100 Days, I didn't do comics. I just did illustrations. Every day I would do a different character drawing.
Right.
So it's like you can make it very flexible, and which is nice. It's more about the concept of the 100 Days things more than whatever specific one you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're joining the party.
Yeah, pretty much.
So speaking about comics, what have you been up to with art stuff? Eric?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just now kind of getting back into art after like a 4-month hiatus, really.
Really?
Yeah, I won't go into details because then it'll be, hey, let's sit for 2 hours talking about depression. But yeah, no, and then I was also dealing with some technical issues with my tablet drivers being all broken because Windows 10 decided to have an update, and that broke my drivers for like a good week.
That sucks.
Yeah, I got it back up and running, so I'm able to draw whenever I want. But I'm just trying to ease back into it slowly.
I saw you did a figure drawing of yourself.
Yeah, I created a new cartoon persona of myself because the latest product review I did, I was like, I don't feel like being in front of a camera, and so I was like, oh, I've seen people do little like cartoons of themselves, and it's not like fully animated where it's like smooth movements or anything. It's just like random stills of different poses and expressions kind of thing. I was like, oh, that's something I can do. But I wanted to create a new persona because I didn't like. I've changed a few times since the last time I like drew myself in that form. Like I've lost a lot of weight. I didn't draw my beard the way it technically is now because I keep the sides kind of thinner than like the actual front of my beard. But I was like, I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing that, so I just drew it the way I usually draw it. But yeah, I drew like a new cartoon of myself, and I like the way it turned out. So that's what I used for the first review, and then I have 2 more reviews that I got to write or get done. So we're doing the same thing.
What are you reviewing?
These next 2 ones are just kind of like regular graphics tablets that you just on the board, not the display ones. One is a Huion one, and then the other is a Vike one. Like all these fucking companies, goddamn. There's so many, and like half of them are just like clones of each other. So it's like, do we really need these? Can you guys do something different? And some of them are, like, some of them have, like, the touchpad areas, and some of them have more buttons than others or something, you know? Like, they're trying.
It'd be like Star Trek, you know, with fake buttons and lights, blinking lights.
Pretty much. I get a little grumpy nowadays, especially with the like display tablets and stuff, because I'm like, why are y'all still releasing these display tablets without buttons on them? Like, can we just not? Wacom, I'm looking at you, motherfuckers. Why did you remove buttons from your freaking tablets?
Yeah.
Your 13-inch and your 16-inch model. What the crap is that?
When you were helping me out with mine, I'm glad that we talked about buttons because it's definitely helpful.
Yeah, they're a freaking lifesaver. I wish I had, like, Vike had sent me one that had buttons on it, but I had done a giveaway for it. So the one I'm using now is kind of my old PNBU one because it's a smaller model, so it fits better on my current desk. But I'm like, I miss buttons. I miss my old fucking Cintiq 13 HD. Can't believe I'm saying that, but man, I miss that little thing.
I remember when I was young and my father sat me down and he said, let me talk to you about buttons.
That'll be me one day, man. It's like, man, as I'll be talking to like my freaking kids, it's just be like, man, you don't know the hard times back when these display tablets didn't have buttons on them. You kids got like all kinds of buttons, and they're all touch screens. They're voice command now. Like, spoiled little brats.
So we got people watching, but my computer just I try to open the YouTube video window and I can't.
Let me check. I'll check.
Yeah.
We need to build you a new computer, brah.
Yeah. One day. I'll use what I got.
Budget allows.
One budget allows. Hey, if everybody buys my artwork today, then I'll buy one tomorrow.
I mean, hey, if 1,000 people were donated $1,
That's right.
technically you got enough money.
Get on my Patreon.
I like people who have Patreons who do that. They're like, hey, just donate $1. If enough of you people donate $1, guess what? That's a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it never seems to work though. When people ask.
Hey, it's like one out of every 100 people who say that.
Yeah, really. Yeah, like Patreon is a great concept, but man, is it not? It is a pain in the ass to actually get it to work, really.
Yeah, it was new, so people were figuring it out. Some people are starting to get the hang of it. I'm definitely like interested in Jason Brubaker's journey and learning from him.
Yeah, he does well because he's done well in other areas, so it spins off into that.
But he didn't do well like right out the gate. He had to kind of figure it out too.
Yeah, I think it was. It's a new thing, and people even if your favorite actor or whatever joins something new, you would be like, I love the actor, but I don't know about this energy drink he's promoting.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, I was having a weird conversation with my buddies the other day about some old energy drinks that don't exist anymore. Remember Vault?
Yeah.
That ain't a thing no more.
That's funny.
I think it turns you into a zombie or something.
Something like that, yeah. It's secretly a Vault Tech thing. Yeah, me and my bandmates, like after practice on Fridays and Saturdays, we just kind of sit around and just talk about random shit.
Nice. Oh, you guys ever watch that show? What's it called? No, I can't remember. It's from a comic book. It's about zombies.
iZombie?
iZombie. Then they got that Max Rager energy drink.
Yep. It's exactly where my idea came from.
Stealing right here on the show live. People's ideas. Good stuff.
Oh god, I have all these rough tracks and random riffs and stuff that I need to like actually see if I want to turn any of these into songs. It's just just why.
I've been trying to I don't really like know how exactly, like I'm learning how to play like guitar and stuff a little bit here and there, and I've been getting into punk rock a lot and stuff, but like my goal always whenever I pursue any creative thing is to actually like create, not like I don't really need to be playing other people's songs or anything. So
yeah, but it's fun.
It is. It actually is very helpful for learning, and it's a kick when you like, you learn like, a Nirvana riff or something. You're like, whoa, I'm playing Nirvana. That's so cool.
Yeah, me and my band need to add a Nirvana song. We actually don't have one in our repertoire yet.
Do you guys play live?
Yeah, we're still trying to find a goddamn gig. It's not easy.
Yeah. Once you start getting them, though, then they come more, right?
Yeah, hopefully. It's not easy, especially in Delaware where I am. Like, there's only like 4 bars that I know of that actually play or like have metal bands regularly. So it's like
playing live at Timmy's birthday party.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Timmy would love to listen to our loud, screamy shit. And little Timmy, this next song's for you. Blood and Thunder. I think that someone is trying to kill me. Oh yeah, that'll go over great. Let's get this monster going.
Timmy fell in the well. Oh no. He's trying to run away from the music.
Yeah. Oh god. I only say that song's name because we're actually trying to add that to the freaking repertoire, and we did it. We tried practicing it last night or yesterday. Oh, it was a train wreck. Oh, that was a pain.
What are you trying to practice?
It's a Mastodon song called Blood and Thunder.
Oh.
Oh, it's a great song. I freaking love it. But man, is it a pain in the ass to play.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have any guitar solos or anything. It's just like, because I'm the guitar player and the singer, so I have to be able to play and sing the song, and it's just, that song in particular just has a lot of movement to it.
Yeah.
Right now, the only covers we play is Enter Sandman, we do Paranoid, we do Breaking the Law, and then we do Wires from Red Fang.
Gotcha.
Some fun stuff. And then the other 4 songs, and then we do 4 songs of ours from our demo album.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, it's always tricky, I guess. So from what I imagine and what I've heard from bands, you know, if you're not just a cover band, you know, how to mix in, you know, the originals with the cover stuff and keep people interested and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say your music's better live or on the album?
See, that's hard to say because like when I made our demo album, it was like the first time I'd ever like fully mixed an album. So I feel like I could definitely do better nowadays. So it's one of those things where like I feel like if I re-recorded the album now, I think it would sound better just because some of the songs we can't even play live because they would require another guitar player.
Oh, really?
Right.
So a couple of the songs you can't really get the feel until I get some setup. I need to get a couple pedals that allow me to do it. But no, I think it's about equal, really. At least right now it is. I don't know how it'll be later, because like depending on what kind of metal you play can honestly change how it sounds live, because there's so many things you can do on a recording that you can't necessarily do live that easily without like a full production. Like I listened to some of Mastodon stuff from their latest album, and I'm like, how the hell are y'all gonna do this shit live? There's so many like little sounds going on everywhere. Like,
yeah,
like you'll hear random bells or tinging of like instruments, or you'll just hear like audio clips and keyboards and synths. It's like there's stuff going on in the background besides the 4 members playing their instruments.
Yeah, I think usually people just kind of play the live version. It's just a little bit different. You know?
Yeah, like, and then some bands just use backtracking, but you have to be a band that's technically big enough to afford to do that.
Right.
Because that ain't cheap.
For me, it's like, you know, I've been to concerts and listening to bands live is such an experience. But if I'm home and I throw on YouTube and just play playlists of music or whatever, if something's live, I tend to skip it. You know, it's like I like the recorded version better, probably.
And yeah, it varies, because like I've been to a few I've been to local concert, like, you know, going to your local bar to support your local bands, because some friends of mine from high school are in a band, and so I go to support them. I go watch them. They're actually trying to get us a gig together because they want to play with us on the stage and stuff. But then I've also been I went to Philadelphia to see Red Fang And it wasn't just Red Fang. It was actually like there was a couple bands. There was Whores and Torch came on before Red Fang, but Red Fang was the headliner. So I've seen 3 bands there. And then I went to New York a couple months ago, actually, to go see Boris play live, which was a fucking trip. By the way, New York, I hate you.
My hometown.
I fucking hate it.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go to watch?
What?
Where'd you go?
I forget the venue. It wasn't like a big stadium or anything. It was kind of like an underground joint.
Was it like in Manhattan or?
I'd have to ask my buddy George because he would know, or my bass player.
Yeah.
Because it's like Boris is his favorite freaking band. So I was going because it was like, all right, it's his favorite band. I might as well go. I've never been to New York. I never want to go again. We walked around, like we made a day out of it. We walked around. We walked through Times Square, which was fun. We went to, I think it was Joe's Pizza, the one from Spider-Man 2 that Parker worked at.
Right.
So we went there. We went to get some famous cheesecake. We went to get some like bagels and stuff. Like we did the whole like, hey, we're going to New York. Here's some things that New York claims to be the best at. Let's go try them.
Right.
And let me tell you something, New York, y'all ain't shit except your cheesecake. I will give you props on that cheesecake. That was damn good. Your pizza, I've had better here in Delaware. The bagel was good, but I've literally had New York style bagels here because there's a shop in Main Street, Newark, here in Delaware, near the University of Delaware. The dude there like was from New York, so he just said, "Screw it, I'm just gonna bring my way of baking over here." So now it's like, hey, I got damn good bagels right here. I don't need to go all the way to New York with all those freaking people. I have seen New York in movies. I've seen New York in video games. Y'all are bullshitting because there's so many people and there's so many cars and you can't go 3 seconds without a motherfucker honking a horn. Like, yeah, god damn. Like what the
there's a certain ambiance to
it. It was so bad. Oh my god. I will say this. We went to a bookstore where the entire top half of the bookstore is like all manga, both English and Japanese manga, like all manga. And then in the back corner, there's a like cafe that sells a bunch of like Japanese style snacks and teas and stuff like that. That was amazing. Yeah. I would definitely go there again. Like that was awesome.
I definitely miss New York pizza. There's a place in town called, I think it's Godfather's Pizza. It's like a convenience store, but it has a little deli section. But plus, they make their own brick oven pizza, and it's the closest thing to real pizza in town. Mostly I go to Pizza Caesars because it's cheap as hell. But I miss real New York pizza and plus the pizza people are usually hilarious, especially in Brooklyn. It's just to like hear them talking with customers or fellow workers,
That was another thing I was slightly disappointed at. I didn't hear like barely any New York accents.
Oh man,
I was pissed off. Hell, I heard more like Russian accents as I was walking around. Like there was a lot of people from freaking Russia just visiting New York that day.
Well, they're usually out in Coney Island. But yeah, I mean, it's all mixed in New York. It's like every kind of culture is there, and race and whatnot.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. Like, yeah, there was a lot of fucking people. Oh my god! And what sucked is like the Lion. They were having like the Lion King I guess it was either the musical thing in one of the theaters. So when we left the Boris concert, it happened to be the same time that was over and ended, and now everyone was spilling out into New York. And so it's just like, I'm not comfortable right now.
That's why you got to take the back side streets. Go find a bar and hide out for a couple hours.
Yeah, well, we were ready to get the hell home because we were like exhausted. And then we had to walk for like a good freaking hour to get back to the parking spot because Neil, our drummer, was like, I'm totally done with getting in these taxis. Like, fuck this. This is making me so paranoid. Please, can we just walk?
They're expensive, and yeah, it's like, you know,
and
you get to see all the traffic.
Oh, they're crazy. God. How are there not more accidents?
You're making me miss New York now.
You can have it, man. I'll take boring ass Delaware.
So is this the first time you've been to a city?
No, because a few years ago I went to Philadelphia to see Red Fang. But thankfully that was like more the outskirts of the city. This is the first time I've been like in the middle. Like I walked through like Times Square and like the big tall buildings and like, oh, it was terrifying. I hated it. I have acrophobia. I am afraid of heights. Guess what also ticks that off? When you're staring up at a tall building.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt so claustrophobic sometimes for like a lot of times. Like I'll give New York credit. I'll give New York credit. Walking around New York when like early in the day when it was kind of like the streets were packed, but like the walkways weren't super packed, so like walking around was fine. Seeing some of the structures were kind of nice because some of them were still kind of oldie looking and they had like pillars and stuff, and you definitely got like a cool feel like walking around someplace that you've seen in movies and video games and comic books. Like that was fine. I enjoyed that much, and like I said, the cafe was great. The bookstore cafe was great. The cheesecake we had was really good. It was very expensive though. We also went to this place that makes Belgian fries. Like that's their staple, is a cup full of Belgian fries, and then you can have like toppings and stuff on them. That was really good.
Nice. You go to Great Papayas?
No, we only had like a day, so we can only go to like a few spots.
That's cheap Franks.
There were so many food carts too. Goddamn.
Oh yeah.
Every corner, I'm just getting a whiff of like Middle Eastern food and Mexican food and stuff. It's like, oh god. Everywhere you turn.
That's the smell of New York right there.
Yeah.
Also, I will say it was kind of weird getting like to the city, like as we were going down the turnpike and we were getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I can see New York, and then I looked at the sky, and it started turning this like weird green fogginess. I'm like, are we walking into like a nuclear zone or something? What the hell's going on here?
Did you get to have the joy of riding in the subway station? In the subway?
No, I did get to go under one of the under the tunnel, one of the tunnels that goes under the water.
Right.
That was terrifying because I'm claustrophobic, and we're going into a tunnel, and all of a sudden my brain ticks off the fact that, oh wait, we're underwater. Like,
it's probably you're under the Hudson. Don't worry, you know, a couple of people before you made it.
And it got worse when we were coming back because we went back under that tunnel. We had to go under the tunnel to get the way we were going. I was having some stomach issues, and all of a sudden we dropped in pressure, which made it worse. I was like, oh god. That's right, water pressure.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotion, and just it was an experience. Like if I ever went to New York again, I would be like, yo, can we just like rent a freaking hotel for like a couple days, because I don't want to have to deal with this all in one day and night bullshit. Like let's let's pace this out a little bit.
Yeah, it's good to go to a couple days, check it out.
It was funny walking through Times Square, and you got to see some of like the famous like Times Square people who just are always there every day, like the half naked cowboy.
He was there.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
he was there. We walked right by him. There's a bunch of people in like Nintendo
So
mascot
you're
outfits.
not going to be tabling at New York Comic Con anytime soon.
oh man.
Like I want to go to a convention at some point, but then I've seen them like on like I've seen video, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a lot of people packed into one small area.
Yeah, they should just do a virtual experience. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that.
You get all nauseated and experience it in full, and then you can walk away.
Yeah, I could take the VR headset off. Like all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a lot of people. Take the headset off. Okay, I'm in my room. I'm safe.
It's hilarious.
I bet the cosplay would get even more crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, the convention is probably harder to be around than just general New York, even. So I wouldn't suggest it. I went there on Macy's Day Parade one time too. That was fun.
Oh god,
you probably wouldn't love that.
Yeah, that's always insaneness. That the village Halloween parade is fun. That goes they walk all around dressed up or dressed down sometimes.
yeah.
Depending on their mood. Yeah, it's scantily clad men and women.
That's the best.
But yeah, I mean, it's like any kind of holiday or anything. It's like, I've been in Battery Park for the 4th of July fireworks, which is like, they take a barge out on the Hudson, so it's right in front of you on the water, and the fireworks go, shoot up over your head, and they're, it's probably the loudest you hear it being right there.
Yeah.
And it's just packed, wall to wall people. It's great. And meanwhile, it's like, okay, I grew up in New York, and I was a messenger where I walked around New York during the busiest of times, because that's when people need their packages the most. And I mean, I used to dive in between people constantly, from going from one building to another, and now it's like I'm in a town where most of the people get around by car, and it's like if I see a person on the street, it's like I just naturally move far to the left or the right. It's like I just think to myself, why am I?
Instinct kicks in.
Yeah, it's like I'm not freaking out, but why am I like, it's just one person. Relax. They won't fall off the sidewalk if you don't move over a little. But yeah, it's just a whole different thing. It's like,
yeah, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. All my stuff's broken, and I got a freaking. Oh wait, no, not you. You're the same thing. Go away.
So how's your comic coming along, Marshall?
Pretty good. While we were talking, I finished the second page coloring. So I got the first and second page done.
Nice.
Just need to put the lettering in there, and I got about 4 to 5 more pages to completely pencil and ink. And yeah, I don't know. It's coming along good. Got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Always got more work to do.
Mhm.
Comics is work.
Yeah.
They don't just happen.
Nope.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind. That's what I wish I could do it every day, all day. You know, it's hard, but I like it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You can get there. You know, you got your channel's growing pretty good. And you got your Patreon now where you're making comics monthly, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yep. I need to get back into that crap. Been so out of it for so long.
You want to make comics and YouTube videos and
Well, I've always wanted to make comic books. It's just life decides to be a dick sometimes.
Yeah.
most definitely.
What was that?
What was that?
Oh no, sorry. I like you can't hear that I'm listening to like this track as I'm going through it. I'm like trying to hear a little
like
bit to
that
see what the hell I'm doing.
I like that song.
You like
I don't
this
know what you're
song?
playing. I don't know what you're playing, but I like it.
I like it. It sounds great.
It's my favorite.
Because like the drum track here is the rough. Whenever I do rough drums, I just use MIDI. But I'm sitting here going through this, going, crap. They're all like out of alignment and in a real bad spot because of the program I used to, or the plugin I used to use, I don't use anymore. So all these, like some of these points don't line up where they're supposed to. I'm having to like move points to where they're supposed to be, and then like making sure it sounds right. There, okay, that works.
Well, I wish my brother Tony was here. He's the electronics audio guy.
Hey guys, I just gotta step out for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Aight.
Let's leave while he's gone. No.
Yeah.
Kid.
A kid.
Oh, I hate when like all of a sudden I'm like starving. It's like I wasn't hungry at all, but now in a split second I'm starving.
Also, this is like hunger.
It just kicks in like
The hunger has begun.
I had breakfast. What's up?
I had breakfast and lunch. So I'm good.
Yeah,
for
Marshall ate lunch before we started, and it's like maybe I should have. I don't have any treats, just like something to pop in my mouth to make a meal.
Yeah. I've got like snack. Today's been just weird. I just woke up and I was like, I want like my breakfast is usually something small, like a granola bar or some shit. But when I opened the cupboard and I looked for the granola bar, I just happened to look down. I was like, oh yeah, I have a Three Musketeer bar. I'm gonna have that for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I had that for breakfast, and then I just like ate a regular lunch. But it's just like my day started kind of weird. Having a candy bar for breakfast because I'm an adult.
Because I get to choose.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
I eat like an idiot.
At least you're powered up now.
Yeah. I'm fucking tired.
So yeah, I'm just for anybody curious, just doing a lot of bunch of background lines and buildings,
Doing stuff and things.
stuff and things.
Ugh.
Are you a Walking Dead watcher currently?
No, I'm not a big zombie fan anyway. It's just like, I'm good.
I'm not a big zombie fan, but it seems like I watch a lot of zombie things.
Also, not real. I haven't really been into a lot of like live action shows lately. Like I started watching The Flash, and I got to like I started season 3, but then I just kind of dropped off, and I haven't watched since. And I watched like the first episode or two of Supergirl, and then I just kind of stopped.
Yeah,
I've been way more back into like anime and stuff lately. That always seems to be where I gravitate naturally to.
is it the art?
It's like the art, the just the I think the stories can be a little more kind of fun and crazy. You get to see kind of cool worlds that live action has trouble producing without a lot of budget, and not everyone can throw that kind of budget.
Yeah.
But then like a bunch of anime I've been watching are like their seasons have ended, so now I'm like I have like a void of where I'm just like every month I have a bunch of manga chapters that I read, but that's about it. Like I don't really have like a main anime that I'm following right now. Because I was watching My Hero Academia, but season 3 just ended. And then I was watching Overlord, which again, season 3 just ended.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, God damn it, Dragon Ball's over for now until after the movie and stuff has kind of run its course. And need to like find another series that I want to get into, but again, like I kept getting into other series, I'd binge them, and it's like, oh, I'm finished the season. Now I don't have anything to watch. There's a lot of good stuff out right now, like, and in the last few years that are like really, really good series, but it's like waiting for second seasons.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's based off a comic book where you have to wait until the author has gotten far enough ahead in the comic for them to have material to make. Which is always fun. Over here, it's weird how in Japan that's a thing, but like over here in America, we don't do that.
Well,
if we make a cartoon based off a comic book, it's usually its own story. It's its own thing. It just uses characters. Like sometimes they'll roughly adapt a famous storyline, but it's not like, hey, you know that Batman issues that you're following? Well, you can watch it animated every Saturday or something like that. You know, it's like, do you want Batman? Oh, well, we have Batman animated shows. They're not those stories, but the characters here.
Yeah, but then they'll take a popular story and make 18 movies out of it, you know.
Yeah. Which I always laugh at. It's like, all right, how many times are we going to be retelling some of these like we get origin stories retold over and over and over again and stuff like we'll get weird adaptations of like 2 different storylines in one movie.
Yeah.
Which is always awkward. Looking at you, freaking Dawn of Justice. Batman v Superman. We're gonna have 2 storylines going at the same time. Oh wait, no. We're gonna mainly focus on this storyline. Then we're gonna randomly throw in the storyline from a very famous comic book, and then we're gonna have the tail end of another very famous story, just because we don't know what to do to end this story. God, that movie was bad.
Yeah, they tend to do that, thinking that that's a plus, but
It's
Meanwhile,
not.
it comes out a mess.
Yeah, it does. Like, what the hell, DC? Why can't you just have good producers and writers on your stuff and just let them do their thing? Why do y'all got to jump in and get your little hands in and like mess up what could have been a really good story if you just let them do their thing? Like, I know the guy who's coming in for the sequel to Suicide Squad. Like, he's a good writer. He's done good stuff. But I'm like,
Right.
It's DC. How are they gonna muddle it? Like, how are they gonna get their greedy little hands in there and screw it up? Like, I don't have much faith.
Wonder Woman was really good. I'm not sure who wrote that.
I feel bad for Wonder Woman because it's a weird movie, because if I watch it on its own and kind of ignore the fact that there were all those shitty movies that came before it, I'm like, oh, this is an okay movie. The ending's kind of crap, but like the solid middle parts of this movie are like really good. But then when you compare it to the shit that came before it, you're like, this is a masterpiece. Like, because it came out after a lot of really bad DC movies had just gotten thrown in our face.
And I must say, what we've seen so far, Aquaman looks like it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, like Aquaman looks like it should, like, hopefully. And like, as much as I had like a few complaints design-wise about Momoa's version of Aquaman, like, I liked his personality enough that I kind of I'm kind of letting go a little bit of my like weird bias, because I do have a weird thing where, like, if you're going to adapt a character, can you please adapt the character, like their personality, the way they act, that kind of stuff. Like, adapt the character.
Yeah.
Like, we can go about appearances all fucking day. It doesn't matter. At this point, I'm more worried about, is the character going to act like the character? And when I knew it was Jason Momoa, and I've like seen how he is in real life, like in person, like I've seen interviews of him, and I was like, oh, he's fucking Hawaiian surfer dude, bro. Like, you know, he's a cool dude, but he is your like stereotypical dude from Hawaii, like, bruh, like, and he's great. But I'm like, man, that's not Arthur Curry, like, at all. But like, thankfully they at least made him like. And I think it also has a weird connection where, watching that Justice League movie, I was just looking for anything to be entertaining. And so having him be the dude brah was like actually fun enough to make me get through that fucking movie. So I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with it because he helped me get through that movie without wanting to kill myself.
Yeah.
So you know what? I will take Jason Momoa. I've seen like shots of the movie where they actually show him in like actual Aquaman's outfit, like the yellow and everything, and I'm like, whoa, that looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
So that's what's like, all these little things have made me like going, okay, Mira looks really good. They got her hair like really just rich red, so I'm like, okay, that's good. Hopefully they get her character right, because we didn't really get to see a lot of her in the Justice League movie. But I'm like, okay, you're showing me some good stuff here. Like, please be a good movie.
Yeah, just be a solid story.
Yeah, just be good. I'm not even looking for amazing at this point. It's DC. I have a low expectation bar. Like, just be good.
I mean, you know, they did the Dark Knight. They know what to do. It's just they got. I come on. It's Warner Brothers. It's Warner Brothers. They know what to do. They're like. No, I think they rushed it. They rushed it.
No, here's my thing. You say like, oh, it's Warner Brothers. It's like, yeah, it's Warner Brothers, but it's not the department of Warner Brothers that I have faith in. Because if you talk to Warner Brothers like animation team, like their animated stuff, like, you know, back especially back in their heyday, like their animated cartoons and their animated movies were, and still are, good. Like they're amazing. Like they're still the best part of Warner Brothers. So I have faith in that team. Their movie team, not so much anymore. Because yeah, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were really good movies. Like as much as I have little things about them that I like don't like.
Pick apart.
Yeah, like there's things like Christopher. I get what Christopher Nolan was trying to do, and I can appreciate what he was trying to do. He was trying to take it more of a grounded thing, which at that time, like I'm like, okay, I get why he did that, because at the time it was needed. Like it was a story that we kind of needed to be told because it hadn't really been told that way. And I'm like, okay, no, that's good. I enjoyed that. That happened. Heath Ledger was a good Joker. He had a few problems, but like for the universe that they set up, it worked really well. And then Dark Knight Rises was just a clusterfuck of garbage. But but then DC started wanting to do full on like comic book movie of their characters again. Or at least they made it appear like they wanted to do more like what you expect from a comic book movie. Like you expect more of the fantastic, the like things that you're staring at going, all right, there's no way in hell that would happen in real life, but that was cool. You know, like you're doing Superman, like Superman, like the golden symbol of hope and like everything that's good. Like this is a character who, like, when I watch that movie, I want to feel that same thing that I felt when I first saw like Christopher Reeve's Superman. Like it doesn't have to be that goofy, but that same feeling, that like hopeful feeling, especially in dark times. Like, 'cause let's face it, like our country has been going through some crap. We need that. We need some good movies that we can just stare at and just have a good time with. And unfortunately, it was still coming off of the back of the Nolan films. And so they unfortunately tried to make Superman a dark and gritty story. And that's where they just fucking took a nosedive.
Yeah, true. Totally but visually, a lot about that movie was pretty excellent.
Oh no, like if we're talking about like the department who handled the visuals, other than I think the coloring should have been brighter. And it pissed me off because I've seen set photos from that movie. I'm like, yo, look at the color of his costume. It's like a vibrant blue. I'm like, that would have looked amazing. But again, Nolan. Yeah, the visuals, like the effects were great. The flying looked really good. The action, like when they showed people fighting, I'm like, ooh, that looks really good. Unfortunately, the writing was bad. The writing was just terrible, honestly. Some of the depictions of the characters started out being okay, but then just fell really flat. Like Lois Lane started out really good and then just down the crapper. Like she just no. You started out good and then you fucked it up. And I like Henry Cavill. Like I like him. Yeah. As an actor, as a person. I've seen interviews of the dude. I'm like, yo, this guy should be a great Superman. Why aren't they letting him just be a good, happy, like just being a very positive Superman? Why is he being all mean looking and grumpy and shit half the time? Like, why? And you know what? I will give credit. In the Justice League movie, he had a moment where he acted like Superman. When he comes in to fight the guy whose name I can't remember because I can never remember this villain's name because he's such a throwaway character. The main villain.
Doomsday?
No, of the Justice League movie.
Oh
my god, I know his name, but he's like a throwaway villain. But you know, the main villain for that movie.
Yeah.
When Superman like literally kind of shows up and kind of has a bit of a cheesy one-liner, they kind of so he's like, and then he just kind of starts decking the dude, and he kind of has a nice he starts acting like a fun character. Like he has a grin on his face when he's with the Flash, and he's kind of joking with him. When he gets like knocked down because of the explosion of the thing with Cyborg, he throws a joke and stuff. Like I'm like, there you go, there you go. More. That's Superman. He's a very, very hopeful person. He's a very sarcastic but very funny guy. Like more of that. Yeah. Like, can we get that version? Because Henry Cavill can do that.
Yeah.
Like he looks the part. I think he can act the part if you give him good lines and good writing. Ben Affleck, I think, can be a great Batman if you write him better, because like the Batman versus Superman one, they wrote him better, I think, in that movie. Because he was more dark, brooding, kind of pissy Bruce Wayne. He's fucking old Bruce Wayne. Like he's gonna be a bit of a grump. Well, actually, he's always been a grump, but he's gonna be more of a grump. And then all of a sudden in the Justice League movie, they tried to make him humorous. I'm like, I mean, he has moments where he'll throw like a sarcastic line, but what? Like, what is this?
Batman, you know, it's like, I mean, at various points in DC history, you know, there were times when he was more comical in the team persona kind of thing.
If you're portraying like year one and like the first couple of years of Batman, then yeah, like he used to have a bit of a sense of humor. He used to, you know, before let's face it, life just decided to take a bat to him for years and years and years. There's a reason he is like the guy who stands at the edge of the abyss and just stares in it. Like he has a reason for being that way. And unfortunately, that's the kind of Batman that we're supposed to be having now, because this is an older Bruce. So it's hard to have him go back to being more jokey without it being a little too forced at times. Because even like if you watch the anime, to me, the animated series is the best Batman there's ever been. Even at his grumpiest, he'll still have that smart ass comment that he'll throw out at people once in a while. And it's like, really, Bruce? Like, and it's great. And that's the kind of humor he should have. That like kind of like you say something and then he just kind of throws a smart ass remark at you and you're like, God damn it, Bruce. You know, that kind of thing. That's his humor. And he smiles. You know, he smiles sometimes. Like I've kind of kept up with Batman comics, and like I feel there's a fine line, but you gotta get a writer who understands those fine lines. And I don't think for that movie they actually I just don't think they got him right in that movie per se.
You know, it's like I don't even care if they get the characters right. You know, I'm not that much of a stickler. But why does, you know, it's like, I know it's tough making movies. I know it's like 1,000 people's in the works, and like, you know, things get the dream going in isn't the result on film. But you know, it's like construct a good solid story without a billion holes. And you know, it's like, because look, on the surface of things, I liked all the movies. I liked Superman and Man of Steel. I liked Batman vs Superman. I liked Justice League. You know, I think Superman was probably the most solid. You know, regardless of its problems, you know, it was better than the other two. There's lots of good things in Justice League, but first of all, I can't get past Flash in armor or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, they what did Barry? What did they do to you, Barry?
And then like, you know, Cyborg has an awesome costume in the comic, and they don't even get clothes.
I know. Oh, the CG was so bad. Oh, it looks so bad.
You know, so I could look past characters not being exactly the same. Like Cyborg in the movie is kind of interesting. You know, I kind of like the way they went with him. You know, it's not exactly the comic. It's not even close in many ways, but
well,
but
yeah,
at least.
Well, they did near the end. They had like a little scene where he kind of like revamps his look, and then they kind of make it look more like what the comics look like. But yeah, no, the most of that movie, he just looks like CGI garbage.
Yeah, it's like, now I know what the Transformers fans were talking about.
Yeah. Let's not open up that old wound, please. Nah. like I can, like obviously I have my viewpoints for a lot of that thing, just because I am a stickler. I am the stickler who's like, get the character right. Like it doesn't have to be like one-to-one recreation. Like I'm not that stickler about it, but get a lot of the bullet points of the character right. You know, that's my thing. But no, like, yeah, even if you take that out of the pros, like I understand why some people did enjoy some of these movies. Especially because if you're someone who like has no frame of reference at all, you're going in blind. You're like, I don't know these characters other than what I've seen in these movies. Like, I can get that if you just were to watch them as just slugfests and actiony type things, you can get some enjoyment out of them, like easily. Like I can see that. If you're someone who's a stickler for story, you're gonna have some issues getting through these movies because they have a lot of plot holes. They have a lot of like just like really bad writing. But like it's one of those scenarios where I feel like I hold like, especially like Marvel and DC, I hold them as companies at a higher standard a lot of times just because they're the big two. They are like, they represent comics to the world, basically. Like they're like, to anyone who wants to get into comics, they're kind of your bar. They're the bar. Unfortunately, they have been underperforming that bar in many aspects. But they've also been doing great things. They've also been doing some really good things every now and then. And I'm like, no, I will admit when they do something fucking good. Like some of their casting for these movies have been fucking great. Like as much as I first got on the casting of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman initially, just because like just from appearances, I was like, I don't see Wonder Woman. Like she's done a great job as an actress and as a performer selling that part, just being Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So I will fucking hand it to her there. When the casting for Gordon, I thought was like he wasn't in that movie much, but like wow, that's a great actor to throw in that part. More, yeah, I want more of him.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie at first I didn't think would do a good Harley Quinn. And then I watched her in the movie and I'm like, wow, this movie's terrible. Harley Quinn's really good. Like she's doing a damn good job. Like go Harley.
It's gonna be in 3 more movies, so
good. I'm glad, and I'm glad they recasted Joker. Like I don't think he as an actor, if they had done a little bit more to try and push him a little bit more in a good direction, I think he might have been okay. But just from that movie alone, I don't want any more of that Joker. But then I saw some of the test footage for this new guy, Joaquin something.
Yeah.
What's his name? Yeah, you know who I'm talking. Like, yeah. At first, when I just saw a picture of him and he was just wearing kind of regular clown makeup, I'm like, that doesn't really scream Joker to me. But then they showed that test footage of him in kind of in motion, like that one from the front view, where it like fades. Right. It fades from no makeup to makeup, and he has that smile. I'm like, oh. Fuck. That's creepy. That looks like Joker.
I think based on the actor and nothing else, he'll be a good Joker.
Yeah, and I know very little about that actor. But just from that short clip of what he was able to do physically to emote, I'm like, okay, no. Now you've got me now. Like I'm interested to see where this goes. I
mean, my stance is like, Batman has a billion villains. We've seen the Joker 1,000 times. Enough already.
Yeah. Although, in fairness, there are some aspects of the Joker that we still haven't really gotten yet in live action. So, in my view, it's more like I'm still waiting for them to give us the true clown prince of crime. So that's the only reason why I'm like, I don't mind them doing him again. But I am starting to kind of get tired because I'm like, man, he's got a big rogues gallery. Can we have like Mr. Freeze done properly? Can we have Baby Doll as a character? Can we have Croc like as a good character for him to go against? Can we have like the Mad Hatter, the Riddler, like the Penguin done proper? Can we have some of his really good Rogues Gallery characters coming back?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Joker isn't Batman's greatest villain of all time. He's the one we've he's the one we've seen the most.
I would have to argue a bit about that because the Joker is because to me, like they always say, a hero is only as good as their villain. I think Joker is like the perfect villain to showcase who Batman is. Because they are the weird complements of each other. They are the perfect dichotomy of the arch rival. But no, if you're like going on a personal basis of who you personally prefer, then I would probably go with like Victor Freeze for me personally, just because the one I grew up with was the animated series, so that's my Freeze, and I always loved his story because it was so tragic.
Yeah, I mean, just like Batman's story is tragic, his story is tragic, and I think that's what complements both of them. And
like you watch that episode, and it plays out like a goddamn like movie drama, like a play, man. It's so poetic and like almost operatic the way the character talks, and it's so good. Sorry, I'll try not to gush about the animated series anymore. No. Can't help it.
Hey,
it's so good.
No, I mean, it's like, hey, whatever I say is like, my opinions change and evolve, and I mean, it's the bottom line is it's all entertainment. Just going on what you said earlier, like as far as like Marvel and DC, they have like the money to back them to do great movies.
Oh yeah,
and
especially Marvel, even now they have Disney on their payroll or bank rolling their fucking shit.
I would say like even though Marvel's on the hot track, I kind of think they could even do better.
Oh yeah,
I know they can. Do better. It's like we haven't even scratched the surface. Like if you look at the CGI, the CGI is amazing with what they can do. But then think about it in the scope of the movie. What are we seeing? We're seeing people standing around talking to each other. For most of the film, it's like.
I mean, let's be honest. That happens a lot in comics, so it is very accurate.
No, I know, but I'm saying like you have a powerful tool, and you can you
can do so much more.
Yeah, you had Thanos throwing the moon or whatever the hell that was. But that's just like starting. Like you can actually, I mean, if you look at the old Marvel comics, Kirby, where characters went in space and there's all this weirdness going on. You see space in the Avengers movie and it's normal. It's like you could do so much more.
Oh yeah, and I will give them credit. Like Thor Ragnarok and the latest Avengers with the Infinity Gauntlet, those two movies at least finally decided to try and go that extra step. Like they tried to be like, no, let's pull our hand back in some of these old original comics like Kirby's and stuff, and like Kubert and like all these older guys, and say, all right, let's see what we can just like pull from this again, like because we really haven't delved into that kind of space before. And like I will give them credit for Infinity Gauntlet because it switches around to so many different locations between like Earth and like the different parts of space, and you get all these different action scenes and you get all this like cool things going on that like we haven't really seen much of. They're starting to like take steps in that direction, and I'm like, all right guys, you're making the right step, push it further.
Yeah.
Like, just go whole hog. I want to see giant purple Galactus now. Like, I want Galactus, the
I
World
do.
Eater.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, one of my favorite scenes in the Avengers Infinity War was Thor meeting Peter Dinklage. I forget
Yeah.
the character's name.
Yeah.
But
It's weird. I should know that character's name.
Yeah, but there's a character who's a giant, but in real life the actor's like a dwarf.
A dwarf, yeah.
Um,
Well,
and
it's weird because he's technically a dwarf in the movie too.
yeah, well, that means something else in the movie. But but I thought that was awesome. I mean, that was like, I said, like a real favorite moment.
Reforging reforging a new hammer, and you get to see some mythos.
Yeah. And visually it works, and it didn't look fake. It didn't look, off. It looked like totally like Thor was meeting up with him and doing all that jazz.
And then you get that cool fight on Titan where it's like it's a alien world. There's a lot of crap going around, and then he does like his cool trick with his reality gem to like show you the way it used to look, and it's like, all right. I'm liking this.
I know, like with Doctor Strange, the movie I loved, but when it comes right down to it, he has glowy circles. That's it. That's what he did. That's his power. That's a visual expression of that.
But then you read the comics and you see all this crazy abstract shit going on around him, and it's like, where's that stuff going on?
Yeah, it's like, I know they're trying to make an Avengers movie for the masses and not totally weird everybody out or make a statement in an art or something, but at some point, I think Eternals is going to be that. Like they experimented with Avengers Infinity War. They experimented with Thor Ragnarok. I think Eternals has the potential to be that freaky world we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I'm really hoping for the upcoming stuff, like whatever the hell they want to work on. Like, please, just like give us more. Give us something good. Like, really give us something that we can sink our teeth into.
Yeah. Marshall disagrees. Nah.
No. No, I think that would be cool. Like like you were saying with the Eternals, like if they go like crazy Kirby with that would be like sick. But I don't think they're gonna. I don't know what they'll do, but that'd be really cool. I've also always thought it would be really neat if like I'd love to see an X-Men that's like truly the original team, and it looks like it comes from the same time that was made, and it's like maybe in sepia tone or black and white a lot of times, but then also have the crazy CGI, so it looks like that time, but it's got the effects. That would be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, it would be.
I think a little taste of that was in X-Men First Class, where it felt like the time period.
Yeah, they really did try to. They really did try to bring that feel, and I appreciate that. Like, I fully appreciate them trying to give us a more classic thing, because like we always like a lot of people joke because of like the first movie where he says, what do you expect, yellow spandex? And now comic book fans are going, yes, we don't care if it looks stupid. Yellow spandex, just have fun.
Yeah.
Key word: comics are supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Hence, the movies should be fun too.
Guardians of the Galaxy understood that.
I was working up at Marvel during the early X-Men movies coming out, and I think I overheard Tom Brevoort talking about it, but I never bought that all the black Alfreds were the best choice. You know, Tom said something about like, you know, well, it worked in the Matrix, so we're doing it here, or something, something to that effect. But
yeah,
I believe if they went full on comic book outfit, it would have worked better. That's my opinion.
Now, I'll do it, and I'll give them some leeway here. Like when that first movie came out, I get it. Like I get it. Like they wanted to play it a little safer to try and make sure that they made a good movie, but without people just staring at going, okay, this is silly and stupid, especially of that time period when it happened. Like I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But after movies like Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool, I'm like, okay, you just made Deadpool look like Deadpool 100%. His costume is like almost 1-to-1. And then I saw some like test images of Hugh Jackman wearing the brown Wolverine outfit. I'm like, okay, that looks amazing. Can we get that in the fucking movies? I would love to see, like, even if you don't want to go with the bright yellow and blue outfit that he wore, that brown outfit is my favorite one personally. And I would love to see that on the screen. But no, I want the big headgear too. Like it's got to have the freaking horn shit. Like come on, don't puss out. Give us the whole thing.
I want him to take that helmet off and have his hair up. You know, like it goes.
Oh yeah. I want the whole thing, bro. I want it all.
It doesn't make logical sense. Like his hair would be, you know, stomped down or whatever. But
yeah, man, it never makes logical sense. No.
No, it's comics.
Exactly, it's comics, and that's what I think. And that's I think the biggest problem with these movie companies is they're almost afraid to do a straight comic book movie. Like they don't know how to handle it. And like, because even when I watch like Spider-Man Homecoming, I'm like, all right, here we go. This is a comic book movie. You've got like Michael Keaton just hamming it up as the Vulture. You've got Tom Holland playing a very, very convincing young Peter Parker. Like it's a little goofy. It's got some dark moments. It's fun. It's action-packed. The action looks amazing. The costume looked great. And it's like, okay, here's a good comic book movie. Why can't we get more of this? Like, I want more of this. And by this, I don't mean like every comic book movie has to be super bright. It doesn't have to be super like funny or comical. I'm not an idiot. I've read comics for years. They have variants. Like certain comics are darker than others. Certain comics are brighter than others. Certain comics are sillier. Certain comics are more serious. Like Captain America is more often than not a relatively serious character. He's got some fun moments because he's not a stickler. Like he does have some fun moments, but he's usually a little bit more stoic as a character. So his movies, I'm okay with having a little more of that because that's him. But when you have these movies where you have a bunch of characters together, now you get to have fun with these personalities interacting with each other. So you get characters like Captain America talking to Thor, you know, Thor being the kind of more fish out of water kind of character, but he's also a very mythological, bigger than life character. So he gets to say things that are very fun. You have Tony Stark, who's the snarky asshole. You know, you get to have these characters play off each other. Like I love those scenes where you get these characters playing off each other's in the Avengers movies. And I think DC needs to learn from that, but make sure that they're doing it based on the characters, not just based on what Marvel's doing. And I think that's the problem that DC fell into, is they were trying to copy Marvel's movies without understanding what made those movies good.
At the worst, I walk away from watching these movies, you know, it's more DC. And I feel like, okay, that was 12%, you know, comedy and 20% action. And, you know, it's like, I feel like they're just putting together a formula after the film was made and just cutting it up and putting it out.
Oh God, yeah. It was like they were trying to paint by numbers, kind of weirdly, but they were putting the wrong colors in the wrong places. So it ended up just looking like a congealed mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like, and I'm not such a pessimist that I don't think that DC could make a good movie, because they prove that if they get the right people on the job, they can put out some good quality stuff. Like Wonder Woman is proof that, yeah, Wonder Woman's not perfect by any means. Like I can throw a couple things that are wrong with it, but it was a step in the right direction that they needed. They got the character right. They got the action really well. Like a lot of that early action was great. The period piece part was great. Like they knew when to set that movie in for her being on her own. And the visuals were amazing. Her costume looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was a step in the right direction. I'm like, okay, here we go. And even when they introduce her in the Batman versus Superman movie, she was honestly like the best the best part in that movie, because she acted like Wonder Woman around these characters. Like whenever you see her interacting with other characters in the universe, she has her way of talking to people, like not taking people's shit kind of scenario, even though like I love it too. She's that character who's like, she will not have a problem like kind of standing up to people like Bruce and especially people like Superman. Like she will not hesitate to talk shit to Superman, knowing full well that he could just obliterate her, but she knows him. She knows that she can get away with it because she needs to. She's like, no, I need to be the mom for a moment to snap this dude out of his funk and get him back to the Superman he should be. Same with Bruce. Like she listens to Bruce's shit. She's like, all right, look, you dark brooding piece of shit. I'm not going to let you get away with this every time when I'm around.
Yeah.
Like, look, you grump. Like, and that's dynamics. That's characters playing off each other. Like, that's what we want, DC. Like, we want the characters to actually be characters and interact. And yeah, we want the big action sequences because it's a comic book. We want awesome punching and blowing things up, and we want that. But you got to make sure that everything in between that flows and works and is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said it earlier. Like the weakest part of Wonder Woman was the final battle. Yeah, and that's pretty much true. It's like, it almost would have worked better without it.
In fact, actually, a buddy of mine sat and rethought the ending and said, okay, everything plays out the way it did up until that ending fight. All right, here's how you make that ending fight all of a sudden mean something amazing. The fight goes on. She pulls that whatever bullshit out of her ass of how she was able to throw lightning back at him, which, whatever. Okay, so it looks like Hades is gone. The camera pans around. All of a sudden it's calm. All the soldiers are still fighting each other. Nothing stops. Nothing changes. She's concerned. She literally has that same concerned look on her face like she had when she killed the wrong guy. She's wondering, wait, why are these people still fighting? I killed him. Why is everything? And then you just hear Ares' voice come out of nowhere just to remind this woman, it's like, no, I am the god of war. As long as there is conflict, as long as war exists, I exist. I didn't make these people fight. They chose to fight. Like, that would have been so good. Because that would have been so, like that would have given her even more drive for her character to be determined to make a difference. Like, don't have her be defeated at the end. Have her use that as fuel to want to do more. Like, that's called character building. That's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like, even when she's in the darkest part of her life, she still finds a way to look forward. That's why people look up to Wonder Woman. That's who she is. That's her strength. Like, if that had been the end of the movie, that movie would have been like 100 times better, like easily. But they went with the
Yeah.
safe ending. But it's neither here nor there now. But like, it's just a thing that they need to, like, I think they need to learn from.
Look, I'm sure, you know, DC's listening right now, so.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, DC, man, like, let's have some real talk here. I'm here for you, bruh. I grew up on DC. I want you to be good. Like, take all of my hate and criticism as me trying to help you be better. Like, I want to love you.
Well, like I said, like Aquaman, it looks amazing, and I hope it's, you know, it's at least a solid enough story that the visuals pull it all together. You know, Wonder Woman 2, it could be, you know, it depends how they slant it. You know, it's what is it, Wonder Woman 84? So it's a pivotal moment in time. It's definitely an era that is behind us. I hope they do it justice. And I hope that, you know, it doesn't come out as a caricature of the time.
Yeah, really.
So, you know, it's like I'll enjoy it, but I hope it's like the first one, that it you know, has some powerful moments in it. So we shall see.
Yeah, and like, again, as much as I come off as like very pessimistic, and which, by the way, I am mostly pessimistic, which is, if people actually knew, like, would research what that term actually means, they would realize it's not that negative of a thing. But I am also hopeful. Like, I want good things. Like, I do want DC to do well. I want Marvel to do well. I want, you know, I want all these people to do well, because I see potential. Like I said, at first I wasn't on board with Jason Momoa, but I grew to like him. So now I'm like, yeah, no, I want this movie to be good, especially because I want people to see Aquaman as good the way he's supposed to be seen.
Yeah.
Like, he's always been a great character. Like, he's always been badass in the comics. Like, now we just need for people to see that on the big screen.
Yeah.
And if this is what it takes, if it takes us getting a guy like Jason Momoa playing the character the way he's playing it, for people to finally give Aquaman the respect he deserves, so be it. I'm on board. I'm all on. I'm all in.
The thing I don't like about that Aquaman is all his body tats.
Yeah,
but again, it's a little too much, but yeah. But I do like the different Aquaman costumes they have in the movie.
Oh yeah, the costume, especially that shot of the costume, like the classic costume.
Yeah,
I am all on board with that.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like, you know, that they're mixing in like good elements from things we know. Like, it looks like Indiana Jones at points. It looks like, you know, different kind of classic movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a desert sequence that it looks pretty fun, and just the underwater city looks phenomenal, and the creature battle, that whole thing. You know, you don't really have to go over the top to have a great story or great
good
moments.
world building.
Yeah. But you know, they did that right. It looks pretty much perfect. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
ain't that silly city in the comics, so I know.
And then that's the thing. Atlantis in the comics looks so amazing. So it's like, yeah, you got to get that down.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm glad it looks as good as it does.
yeah, I'm glad for, you know, it's James Wan is director. You know, where he's taking it, how it looks, and the story looks really good. And I'm glad that, you know, like covering his origins, because not many people know who the heck Aquaman is, or, or
Yeah.
what's his story, or
This is
you
the
know.
one origin. This is the one time where it's like, no, we need an origin story.
Yeah, it's like this isn't Batman or Superman or yeah, Superman or Spider-Man.
Yeah, like people we've seen their origin stories about 100 times. Like, no, this is a character who no one's really seen this man's origin story.
Yeah. So.
And he's got a cool origin story. Like it's very heartbreaking at times.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. And there's other books even outside. There's like other movies outside of the big two that I'm like kind of looking forward to seeing because like I've seen the full makeup for Hellboy, and I think he looks amazing. So I'm looking forward to that.
I.
It looks like they're actually going to try to adapt some of the stories more. So I'm like, fucking cool. Like some of these stories that they say that they're doing basically like a played adaptation for the movie. I'm like, these are some of the really good starting stories. Like, yes, let's go.
Yeah. I'm waiting for like a clip of Hellboy.
Yeah, I want to see him in motion.
Just based on him in the shadows or him photoshopped on a poster. It doesn't really show what he looks like.
Yeah, I think it's that same effect that I had when I first saw Joaquin as Joker. It's like I want to see this in motion. I want to see this doing something. So yeah, I am holding until a trailer before I like fully jump on board of the movie. But I'm already excited because the actor looks really good, and I've been wanting another Hellboy for a while.
Well, you know, it's. I love the character, so I'll see it regardless. But as far as like the costume, how well it's done, I'll save my remarks to like when I see it.
Yeah. And I hope they have Liz in the movie, but I hope she's not a romantic side. I hope she's Liz from the comics.
Yeah, that would be nice. Remains to be seen. I mean, we're getting Mila Jovovich as Blood Queen.
I know. The Blood Queen. I'm like, yes, they're gonna go full tilt. Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm also looking forward because I follow Todd McFarlane on Facebook and all, and I know he's been working his ass off to try and get a fucking Spawn movie made, and like he wrote a freaking like 500-page script and everything. Like he's going like hard trying to get this thing going. So I'm looking forward to seeing I would love to see some concept art. Obviously I want to eventually see some casting choices because I would like to see like who they're gonna go with for Al Simmons and Cagliostro and all that stuff. Like I am looking forward to a fucking Spawn movie. I like Spawn.
You know, I would like to see a movie where I see nothing and they just released the movie.
Oh, you mean a straight to video movie?
No. Straight to theater without freaking 1,000 trailers and pictures and you know, it's like I like Spawn. I like Todd McFarlane. You got my money. I'll see it. It's like you don't need to work harder than that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people.
I know.
If they just go based on people like us who would see it regardless, they would lose so much money because they wouldn't get enough people to go to the theaters. So They need to remember how to make a good trailer.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Make good trailers.
Well, I hope sort of like Todd McFarlane's stance on this movie that he's doing will pan out to a large audience. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know,
because
like
Todd's a very no bullshit kind of character or kind of guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he won't let them break his
like,
character.
The character's not going to talk, so like, I hope it, you know, it works well with
Who, Simmons?
Yeah.
What do you mean he's not going to talk?
Spawn is not going to be talking.
I mean,
in the movie. I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know. That'd
be weird. he talks in the comics quite often. I mean, yeah, he doesn't. He's not like a super talkative guy, but he does have his dialogue that he throws out every now and then. Like,
yeah, I want a mocha cheaper. No, that's not him.
Okay. You know what? And you know what? Another character I would actually like to see in a movie, and I don't think DC is brave enough to do it. I want to see Etrigan. I want to see the goddamn little demon Etrigan in a freaking movie. Oh, that'd be so fun.
You talking about from Spawn?
No. Etrigan from the DC universe.
Oh, the yellow guy.
Jason Blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want fucking Etrigan, man. Oh, that rhyming piece of shit.
He was in that Sin City movie, wasn't he? No.
No.
I know.
I think he was in the Justice League Dark animated movie, if I'm not mistaken. Because I know he was in the animated series once or twice.
I don't feel a need to see him, but if they do the character right, you know, I'll be up for it. Checking it out.
I love that character so much. He's so fun. Because he speaks entirely in rhyme, and it's so goofy, but he's this badass little monster, and it's so great.
As long as it doesn't wind up being a Leprechaun kind of movie.
Yeah. There's so many like side characters that I'm just like, come on, get them in the movies.
What would be really fantastic is if they did a true to the comic movie of Deadman.
Oh, yeah.
Visually, it'd be fantastic. You know?
That'd be so good. Oh, why is that not a thing already?
I know.
Deadman is such a cool character.
Yeah.
Like, you could do so much with him. Oh, man. That needs to be a thing. No. It needs to be a Netflix series. I want a series out of this. I want episodes of this shit. You know what? I am actually fully on board with instead of like big blockbuster movies, I would actually be more happy with like Netflix series, like seasons of a show with a lot of these characters, because I think a lot of these characters just would work better with a running series.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like even Batman, in some respects, I think works really well as a series of things going on, because you can take more time and have fun with the fact that he is supposed to be the world's greatest detective. Like, why don't you guys have him actually doing the detective side of what he's great at?
That could be a bold thing for them to do. Like, you know, I mean, I know they got DC streaming now, but if they were to do with Netflix, a series on Netflix, so it's publicly for everybody.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they have a serious take on Batman, but yeah, it's like a ongoing series.
Yeah. Because I know Gotham's a thing, and I don't really care for Gotham that much. Because I'm always like, Gotham would have been great if they had focused on Martha and Thomas Wayne. If it had been their story, I would have fucking watched it. Like the story before they die, I would have watched that.
Yeah.
But I don't give a crap about Bruce as a kid growing up, and then they focus on origin stories for characters that shouldn't have origin stories this far back. Like
it's a little confusing.
It's jarring. It's out of place. It like I've seen some of these characters in action and like some of the things they've been doing. I'm like, I'm not on board with these characters. Like I don't. It does nothing for me.
If you ignore everything, and watch it, it's not a bad show. And I like, Commissioner Jim, well, wherever he stars at.
Oh yeah, the guy they got for
Lieutenant.
Gordon, I think is a good young Gordon.
Yeah.
And Harvey Bullock, I think the guy they got for him was a good young Harvey Bullock. Like I will give them that. Those two characters and Alfred, I'm good with. Like,
yeah.
But just everything else, I'm just like I don't. Because, and it also pissed me off because when they did Arrow, like I watched the first season, I'm like, y'all just wanted to do Batman, but you couldn't get the rights to do Batman as a TV series.
Yeah, well, that was obvious.
So they turned Arrow, who should not be this kind of character, into a dark, brooding Batman character. I'm like, no, that's not Oliver Queen. So that's what turned me off from Arrow, which I like. I stuck through Arrow up to season like 3, and my reasoning for it is kind of stupid. Well, actually, no. My reasoning is two things: A, Deathstroke. B, Barry Allen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know what, Deathstroke, I'll give you some credit. That was a really good. That's a good casting choice. He does a really good job as Slade Wilson. Good job. Even Deadshot, the guy they got to play Floyd Lawton. Holy crap, he was like spot on. Like he didn't quite have the suave like attitude that Deadshot like Floyd Lawton has, but like personality wise, he was basically Floyd Lawton. And then when they introduced Barry Allen, and I will give DC credit, the Flash TV series for the first like 2 seasons, I loved.
Yeah.
After that, I feel like they kind of the writing started getting kind of bland, repetitive, and it's like they didn't know how to move characters forward quite right. And so they kept relying on the same storytelling that they had done already from like season 1 and season 2.
I feel like they
first 3 seasons, sorry, because I did watch season 3.
They almost they create characters and they say, okay, like, we really like these characters. The characters are really popular to fans. The actors are signed on for 5 seasons, so like let's just work them into the regular team, and they try to be a little inventive here and there, but it's like it's not really about the Flash. It's about the Flash and family that we're stuck with.
Friend. Like, yeah, no, it's one of the scenarios. Like, I still have the same complaint. Like, I haven't watched season 4. So I don't know what happens there. But like for the first 3 seasons, I feel like the show did a lot of both really, really good things and then a couple like really bad decisions on some parts. Like to me, Iris West was kind of irrelevant and they kept trying to make her relevant and it just never worked. Caitlin,
right.
I feel like they unfortunately gave away who she was a little bit too quickly because of just she's Caitlin Snow, and now you're going, okay, anyone who knows even a single thing about Killer Frost knows who she is. So it's like, well, how's this going to get all fucked? But then they tried to write this character. They tried to make her a good character, and they had moments where she was a really good character, but all in all, she was And then her transformation into Killer Frost to me was just kind of lackluster at times. And like having that actress playing the actual villain Killer Frost in that multiverse storyline was kind of fun. because she tried to act like an actual villain, and I'm like, okay, no, she's not terrible at this. She can kind of have a little fun with that. And I'm sure that was fun for the actress too, to kind of actually play a villain. But again, it just like they couldn't quite get all the way to some of these characters. The choice they got for Barry's father, spot on. And then having him return as the Flash from Earth 2, that was great. That was a lovely nod to the original Flash. The fact that he played the Flash, I'm like, you know what? I'm fine with this. The story, like it's a bit of a convoluted excuse to have that actor as the Flash, but you know what? Screw it. I'm all on board with him being that version of the Flash. The thing they got for Zoom, I thought was really was really well put together. Like having him be the way he was. The Reverse Flash was just the best. Like that actor for Eobard Thawne, for the first version of Eobard Thawne, holy crap. That first season is solid. Yeah, and like the guy they got to play freaking Captain Cold. And I can never remember that fire guy's name. Son of a bitch. What is his villain name?
Human Torch?
No.
I know.
Firefly. Is that what is that who that is? Is that supposed to be Firefly?
Don't think so. Firefly was in the Flash, I think, but not the guy you're thinking of.
Yeah, but those two were amazing.
He's from Legends, right? You're talking about
those two actors were once in that Prison Break movie, or not Prison Break, that one prison show together, and they still work amazing together. But yeah, that those two guys, Captain Cold and his partner, who's the fire guy, those two, so good. A lot of the villains, I will give them credit. I will give them credit. A lot of the villains were really good, but then after season, like at the end of season 3 at the end of season 2 going into season 3, I feel like they started rehashing too much, and they started relying too much on kind of the way they had already written things. And I'm like, see, now you guys are not letting things progress. You're not letting Barry Allen grow up and get past things, and like then you kill off his father, and now he's fucking with the timeline again. And it's like, come on, you can't keep doing this. You're just rehashing in the worst way. And they tried to do a Flashpoint story, which I'm like, no, please don't.
I was watching Flash and I was watching Arrow. I stopped because I watched too much stuff, but more than anything else, and it's like part of it is I kind of know what to expect, even if they do new stuff at this point in time. It's like, well, it's still Arrow, it's still Flash, whatever. Yeah,
the writing is still the same that they've been doing, and without any real changes, really.
Yeah, I like the Flash as a counterpoint to Arrow, because Arrow was dark and Flash was light. But then, when Flash became dark and is like, oh, it's like I ruined everything by going back in time, so let me go back in time again so I can fix it. Yeah, it's like whatever.
The problem is they forgot that Barry Allen as a person is probably the most, like, as much as I say, like, Superman is a symbol of hope, Barry Allen is like the truest symbol of just someone who embodies hope and believing in people and always believing in the right thing and never compromising. Like, that's Barry Allen. And you can have those wavering moments once in a while, like once in a blue moon, because it's interesting storytelling. And unfortunately, they did it too many times where they had him waver too much. I'm like, which sucks, because the actor, when they give him that good Barry Allen type like dialogue and writing, that actor does a great job at portraying Barry Allen as that kind of character. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, that scene at the end of season 1 of him meeting his mom in the past, I fucking cried like a little bitch. like, God, that was so good. And that actor just poured so much into that part. Yeah. But then to see him being given these very just way too dark stories way too often, it's just kind of heartbreaking, because it's like, you guys clearly know how to write him as a symbol of hope, the way he's supposed to be, but you're relying too much on this new way of dark and edgy DC. And I'm like, and I have that same problem in the comics too. Like, I think DC Comics right now just like, I don't know how it is now, because I haven't been keeping up with comics in the last like half a year. But for a while there, after like the New 52 and like Rebirth and a lot of that's, and like after Flashpoint stuff, they were just like, everything was dark and edgy and gritty and just bleh.
Yes.
Like, they were taking characters that had no reason to be like this and doing it to them. And I'm like, why? Like, why are you doing this? I don't want Barry Allen to be like Batman. I don't want Superman to be like Batman. Like, come on, people. And then there this whole publicity stunt with like Batman. Apparently, him and Selena were supposed to marry. I'm like, all right, how are they gonna fuck this up? There's no way they're gonna ever actually let Bruce Wayne be actually happy. They can't. They just, like, I think they're physically incapable of letting him grow and move on as a character. Because God forbid you, like, pass the torch to Dick Grayson, who has earned the right to be Batman 10 times over.
Well, you know, it's like, I kind of like the heroes who stay true to what they were when they were originally created. It doesn't mean you can't progress them in some ways.
Well, the thing is, well, actually, by that logic, though, they've already drastically changed Batman very far from how he was when he kind of first started.
Yeah.
In fact, they've made him way darker than he used to be.
Yeah, but like, okay, like, I never read the goofy Batman stories. That
well, I'm not just talking about that. Like, no, if we're talking like the oh God, what's that artist's name? Dick Sprang? Is that what his name was?
Bob Kane?
No, not Bob Kane. No, the guy who drew him during the time when he was more bright, and
I guess it was Dick Sprang. Yeah.
Yeah. That era of Batman was the Comics Code Authority saying, hey, we can't be drawing these characters doing all this dark crap anymore. Because Bob Kane's version of Batman, as much as I don't care for Bob Kane at all, those early days of Batman were detective books. They were really good detective stories, and the character was really well put together. And then when Neil Adams and all kind of took over later on, I think they like him and O'Neill started making the character kind of that detective character where it was like you had the detective dark side, but he kind of had this playboy billionaire side, but he was also kind of a cool dude. Like he would crack a joke, crack a wise now and then. But yeah, then obviously you had the death in the family. You had like the Son of the Demon storylines and like a lot of these dark stories. And then you had like Killing Joke and Batman, like, and then fucking Frank Miller got a hold of him and decided, man, let's set this in the future, and it's all dark and gritty, and I'm okay with that. I love, like, Dark Knight Returns, still one of the best Batman stories ever told. It's in the top 10 of the greatest Batman stories ever told.
You know, if that was never popular, then they would stuck with it's not in continuity.
Oh yeah, no. If The Dark Knight Returns never happened, it's hard to say because things were bouncing back and forth between them trying to go that darker route, but not fully. Because to me, Batman, like I always say it, and I know I always harp on it. Batman the Animated Series was that team of writers understood how to write a good Batman story because they knew that you could have all these aspects of the character. You had his dark brooding moments, you had his fun playful moments. Like you had a lot of good writing at that time. And unfortunately with inside DC Comics itself, I think they've unfortunately got this problem where it's either all one or all the other. Like every now and then you get a writer who's really good and knows how to balance the two. And I'm like, yes, good. More of that. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like DC is willing to bring us back to that good balance anymore. Like they or either that or there's too many chefs in the kitchen. Like too many stories going on at the same time by too many different writers and so many different editors working on it's becoming too jarring. And like because Court of Owls was a good story, like in concept. I think there were some bad parts of it, but like in general that was a good story. Death of the Family, I think as much as I didn't care for some of the choices they made, like was a pretty good story. God, like there's like I'm trying to think because there's like so many things that are like there's one story I still need to read it. There's one story where like by the end of the story, and it's a great moment of character growth for Bruce because it's Bruce, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, and Alfred sitting together in the living room, and Bruce is like, you know what? It's been so many years now. I think I'm finally at a point in my life where I can do this. And they just sit and watch The Mark of Zorro. Like the movie that he literally just got done watching before his parents got murdered.
Right, yeah.
And he wanted to share that moment with what he said is his family. Like he fully is like, no, you guys are my family.
That's cool.
And I love that moment. I'm like, oh, that's a good moment. Like him treating these orphans as his children, as family. Like the way he's like, there was a comic where he literally adopts Dick Grayson. Like he finally goes through and has Dick Grayson sign the papers and everything. Like, yeah. And I don't think that's canon anymore, but there was a time where he did that. Oh, and not just him. Oh, and also Jason Todd. Jason Todd was also there, which is very important. I think the problem is they have too many writers and too many editors who aren't doing enough talking between each other to make sure that not only are they writing good stories, but they're keeping things consistent with the characters. Because I tried getting back into comics by reading some of the New 52 stuff and then some of the like Rebirth stuff, and I enjoyed some of the Rebirth stuff. I thought the Aquaman series was really fucking good for New 52 and some of the Rebirth stuff. The Titans was a pretty good solid series, especially with them bringing back the original Wally West. I thought that was very heartwarming, and that was just a really good story with the Flash and all. Some of the Rebirth stuff with Batman I thought was pretty good. But again, too many writers just not talking to each other enough about what to do. Superman, them bringing back the original Superman, I think was a good move. I haven't read enough of it to see if they're treating him right, but I like them bringing back the original Superman.
Well, 52 is done. I mean, it's. I
know. Yeah, Rebirth is. Yeah, Rebirth is the new 52 is over, and now Rebirth is a thing.
Yeah,
because Rebirth comes after because New 52 was I'm always trying to remember the continuity. New 52 was caused by the Flashpoint paradox originally, but then now in Rebirth they're saying that it was Dr. Manhattan who took like 10 years of continuity from them, or from their memories and everything of their lives. And so now they're like trying to remember things and get back and figure that out. I haven't kept up with it enough to like know the whole story yet, but because it's so complicated and there's so many books you have to freaking follow.
Yeah, I mean, they suffer from the same thing as Marvel. It's like
oh my god, yeah,
out the window.
Did Marvel finish that whole like mutants were like being killed off by a disease thing?
Yeah.
Like, how did that end? Like, I have no idea how that ended.
Everybody died. I honestly, I don't know.
Because I had heard rumors that they were using that as a way of trying to get rid of the whole mutants thing so that they could technically get some of their rights back so that they could make movies with these mutant characters by not having them be mutants anymore, but having them being like Inhumans and stuff like that.
Well, there's rumors they tried many a thing. I mean, they essentially didn't do a Fantastic Four movie because Fox owned it.
Yeah.
I mean, a Fantastic Four comic. And now Fantastic Four are back. But so is Wolverine, who's back from the dead.
I saw that like Wolverine, like the actual Wolverine is back. I'm like, man, y'all. Well, I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit. They waited longer than I thought they would to have Logan come back. Which I'm sad because like that was a great opportunity to let all these other characters who are part of his family be characters and have their own story arcs now after the death of, especially for X-23, because like she saw him as a father. Like, yeah, she had her issues and yeah, they had some of their issues together, but she was the closest thing to a real father she ever had. And like that, like, and then the stuff with Storm and all, and like, because him and Storm were a thing, and I'm like, I loved that. Them being together was just so perfect. Like that made so much sense. I hope they're gonna have them rekindle stuff because I don't know if she's doing anything with anyone else.
I don't know anything about it other than that they were a thing, but then also Storm was with Black Panther too, so I don't know anything about that.
Well, that was a storyline. Like, I don't remember what happened with that because I know that by the time Wolverine or Logan was gonna die, like I think that had already been broken up like a while before.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that.
It's not like I'm reading any Marvel books anyway.
Yeah, I can't. There's too many. Like, where do I start? Like I would if I were to try and catch up with the DC and the Marvel universe, I would have to sit every day and read comic after comic after comic for probably like 3 years. Because I also have to read the new ones that come out eventually.
I'm sure it's explained somewhere. You can probably watch some YouTube videos that have things explained, so you don't have to pick up every book.
That's like my saving grace is that there are some YouTubers I follow who like will sometimes will tell the complete story of a certain event or something, and I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like I'm not really interested in picking up Marvel and DC because everything's going to be, canceled out and restarted again.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in that.
And I think
if it was story driven, that would be something else entirely. If it was a vision of one of the writers or the whole team of writers, that would be different. But it's simply a business thing. And they're going to do it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. And when they write themselves into a corner, they'll reboot everything. Like everything will start over.
Yeah.
And that's like, I actually had a conversation with a buddy of mine about like differences between like if you were to go to Japan and read manga versus reading American comic books, like the big American comic books, not all of them. I'm not saying all of them are this way, but like the ones that you know of, the ones that you see everywhere, like that kind of thing. They had like the when you think about like the advantages that like some of the manga people have, they're telling mainly self-contained stories that eventually do have an ending. And once they end, that's usually it. The writer moves on to another project.
All right.
Sometimes you have sequel series. Sometimes you have some series that go on for fucking ever. Hajime no Ippo, you're on like in the thousands now of chapters. One Piece, 800 something chapters. But they try not to retread their own stories. They don't reboot anything. They just say, no, we're going to write this out. We're going to keep going forward. Unfortunately, with some of our comics, because they've been around for so long, like some of these characters were celebrating their like 75th anniversary, 76th anniversary. Like, they're old comics now, these characters. And they're still being written and rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. They're not allowed to just be a thing and then move on. Be a thing and then move on. Be a thing, move on. Because the businesses get a hold of them, see that they're popular, and they don't want them to die.
It's like, you know, I like that about them, though. It's, you know, it can be done right. You know, the business that, you know, a lot of what they do is, you know, what I plan not to do within my own comic line. And that's really what we all want. We want my comics. So, anyway,
than Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Say what?
I said I would actually much rather read your comics than Marvel and DC, but that's just me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, like not even jokingly saying that. I'm like, no, I'd rather read.
No, me too.
A independent artist's work than the big companies that are just over and over again just disappointing me.
Yeah. So I'll say this. I guess I'll be ending soon. The hangout. I definitely got to go get something to eat before I pass out.
You got to have them protein bars at your desk, man.
Yeah, well, I got to go shopping one day. It's like when you start living off of pancakes and peanut butter, it's probably time to go shopping.
Yeah. Nutella and toast. Oh wait, no, you probably can't even afford Nutella.
It's not.
Hey, that's just expensive.
But before we go, Eric, where can people find you and your music and your art?
Oh, I get to add my music into this one. Okay. Yeah, you can find my personal stuff if you look up Eric Faries on YouTube, and on both Tumblr and Facebook, you look up Art of Eric Faries. If you want to follow me on Instagram, if that's what you prefer, just look up Eric Ronin. Ronin spelled Ronin, all one word. For my band's music, you can pretty much find us on all streaming platforms. Just look up Black Bog. You can usually find our demo album, The Swamplands. It's out right now. If you look it up on Bandcamp, you can download it for free completely. And hopefully, I will be coming out with some more stuff here more regularly. I want to get back into art. I want to get back into YouTube, and I want to get back into trying to make a comic. So I'm gonna slowly get myself back into that grind.
All right. Well, when you get back to working on your comic, then you can come join my 100 days.
Oh man, I'm not looking forward to another 100-day challenge.
You could join mine where we can make comics together.
Okay. Yeah, no, dude, I'd be more. If I had someone to draw with on each of those 100 days, it would be so much easier.
Well, that's what, somebody should do that. I don't plan to do that with every upcoming day, but
I would totally be on board with just sitting and drawing every once in a while with you guys.
Cool. Well, you're more than welcome, man. All right, so then we have Marshall, who's been mostly quiet because we're just talking shit about.
We're
Comic
two
book
very
movies.
dominant voices.
I'm not as huge into the Marvel and DC universe as you guys are, so that's all right. I enjoy listening. I'm drawn.
So you put me into your comic? Is that what that? It's
What's
Pete's.
that?
You put me into your comic.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pineapple Pete.
There you go. So where can people find you and your work and your comics and everything? Marshall?
Well, they can find me at donkeyjawprojects.com, and all my links are right there. But if you want a quick and easy way, just go over to Instagram or Twitter, and it's Marshall Lee _DJP. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. And this has been day 30 for me of my 100 days of making Has Comics, and I've been working on the backgrounds, little buildings, stuff that's got to get done so it looks better in the long run. Yeah, and I'll see you again tomorrow. I got other stuff planned, but I got to eat. All right, everybody.
Food.
Have a good, productive day.